What's up, people? Welcome back to the Creative Differences podcast. I'm Dallas, and shout out to all my friends who are into horror movies.
I'm Colin, and as not one of those friends, shout out to Dallas's other friends.
Yes,
And
that.
I'm Demi, and as you guys can guess, Gabby is once again not here. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, we are doing reviews for The Black Phone and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That is correct. Gabby is off somewhere yeeting some younglings. That could be a Black Phone reference or a Kenobi reference because they both involve killing kids. Well, that got dark. Anyway, before we get into the episode, please like, share, and subscribe because, maybe Gabby will come back. Maybe that'll make her love us. I don't know. So yeah, Gabby hates us, but let's talk about some crime. The Black Phone. The Black Phone is a horror movie that I went to see without these two because Demi was out of town and Colin doesn't love me.
That's
Demi wouldn't have
no.
seen it anyway because
That
she also doesn't love me. The Black
there we
Phone.
go. Okay.
It's not that I don't love you, it's the fact that Ethan Hawke's face and masks frighten me so much in this movie.
Yo,
Masks get me, bro.
he's so scary in this movie. We'll circle back to that. The movie is directed by Scott Derrickson, who made Sinister, Sinister 2, and Doctor Strange. It was written by Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, who wrote all those movies I said 4 seconds ago. And it's based on a short story called The Black Phone by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. I didn't know that he wrote a short story called The Black Phone, but now I kind of want to read it because this movie's dope. The movie stars Mason Thames or Thames or Thames or Fabis. I don't know how to say your last name, Mason,
We're pretty
but
sure
shout
it's
out to you.
Tim's.
Probably. Madeline McGraw, Jeremy Davies, and of course Ethan Hawke as the grabber, aka the stuff of my nightmares. The IMDb summary states, after being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims. Yeah. So this movie it's a horror movie. It takes place in the 70s because the 70s are inherently horrifying, especially if you had a kid, because kids just walked around and got snatched and parents just, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have let my child walk across the city. Never mind, it's fine.
I don't know. If you ask any of our parents, they would tell you, we used to be able to just walk around and it was much safer back then.
Yeah, they thought it was because the kids weren't
Like
trending when they got snatched. They just put up
that's the
papers
thing,
like,
right?
oh,
Like,
have you seen my
yeah,
kid?
it was safer for you because you didn't get snatched.
Yeah. But I don't want to make it seem like I'm making light of, a decade full of child kidnappings. It's just thinking about it back then. It's like, man, I would never like let my niece just walk around the city in freaking 1970s Denver. Kids are
Oh,
getting snatched
Devin
up.
is 13. I won't let him walk around alone in 2022 Pasadena. So
Mm-hmm.
Good point. Anyway, this movie, it's so good. I saw this trailer, who knows how long ago, because it got pushed back a couple times. And I saw that and I thought that's going to be dope. And this is one of the times when a movie hits my expectations so well. I wasn't disappointed by anything about it. It didn't really exceed my expectations, but I had really high expectations, so that's all good. The movie does pretty much everything the way I want it to. And I get into that because it's a horror movie. Horror movie protagonists are often dumb and helpless until the final girl has her final girl moment at the end when she fights back or whatever. Finney, the young boy played by Mason T, is smart. He's capable. He's constantly trying to escape. Like, it's put in this dungeon by this scary white man. And he's not just like, oh no, I'm going to die. He's like, all right, how can I get out of here? There's a window there. What's on that wall? What can I do? And I was like, yes, Mason. No, yes, Finney, do your thing.
See, that just sounds more interesting because then
It is.
what that tells me is like, then you have to make the villain actually like capable of like
Yeah.
thinking about like, ooh, how's that kid gonna try to like? That just
Yeah.
sounds more interesting.
It's not just a guy with a knife or whatever. It's a terrifying Ethan Hawke. The cops in horror movies and often real life are useless. These cops listen. The little girl, her name is Gwen in the movie, I believe, but Madeline McGraw, she's so good. This kid's fantastic. She is, let's say, vaguely psychic. She has prophetic dreams. So she has dreams, and then things in those dreams tend to be true. The cops listen to her, despite the fact that she's
That's
a,
surprising.
let's say, 11-year-old girl saying, hey, I saw this house in a dream. Maybe my brother's there. Like, and cops aren't dismissive. They're like, we ain't got no leads. Let's check it out. And they follow their leads well. They're good cops. They're not terrible. Aside from one scene toward the end, there's not a lot of gratuitous blood, gore, and violence, especially for horror standards. Like, this movie's about a guy who kills a bunch of kids, but we don't really see a bunch of kids getting murdered, which is nice. I have in my notes, it's not Tarantino style violence because it's the black phone, not the nigger phone.
Jesus.
Anyway,
All right,
um,
well,
yes, going down my list of things this movie does well. Kids in movies are often annoying and written by people who have seemingly never been children, but Finney and Gwen are both awesome. They're written well. There's this thing that I complain about often is that people grow into screenwriters and forget what it's like to be a kid, and they write kids in this kind of infantilized and sanitized way. Like, oh, kids don't really think critically, and they also don't say anything bad. Like, no, these kids, they're smart. They curse. They do what kids did when we were kids.
yeah.
Um,
As somebody currently writing teenagers, though, it is kind of hard. Not gonna lie.
well,
But
just
see, I
ruin them.
guess when it comes to that kind of thing, what I don't understand is why you can't find some
You got to
kids
go
or
talk to some
teens who
kids.
like well, that's my thing, who like would be willing to read over what you're doing and be like,
We
"No,
don't
we
talk
don't
like
do
that,
that."
Nah, fam,
right?
Right?
that ain't it.
Like you can do sensitivity readers for like race and stuff, but age is
We need
just as
teenagers for
important.
sensitive reading. Yeah.
Right. Like I was a teenager 30 years ago. I don't remember what they talk like, or I want to write them how we talked back
Also, they
then.
change the way that they talk every like few years.
Yeah,
So
I can't keep up with people a few years younger than me and how they talk. All right, I didn't go through my notes nearly fast enough, so I'm just gonna speed around through the rest of them. The story is obviously supernatural in that he's getting calls from dead kids, but it feels grounded aside from the stuff with the phone. Like it feels kind of like the other
And the
side of a
psychic dreams.
and the psychic dreams. It feels like the other side of a Mindhunter episode, which that's my vibe. Put that into my veins. All the performances are great. Ethan Hawke ugh, Ethan Hawke. He's so good, and his little mask creeped me the hell out. Like I said, Mason Thames is fantastic as Finney. Madeline McGraw is great as Gwen. She was my favorite character, and she's one of the best little sisters in movie history. Like, there's a scene when Finn is getting jumped by these bullies, because movie bullies, they're all terrible, and they're like kicking him violently, and then you see someone grab a rock, and the camera pans up, but it's Gwen, and she's charging in. She's like, "You cowards!" and she has the rock in her hand.
That's a hero shot. That's awesome.
It is. And speaking of hero shots, toward the end, there's a moment when the theater was cheering so loud, you would have thought it was an Avengers movie. The characters are so well written and so great. Scott Derrickson, C. Robert Cargill, everybody, they did their thing. Definitely one of the best horror movies, like everybody's saying it is. So shout out to that. Shout out to everyone involved. I have more things to say, but you can find me on the medias if you want to hear them. The Black Phone, it's great. Go see it unless you're scared. And, that's understandable.
So basically, it was probably a good idea that Scott Derrickson left Doctor Strange too, so that he could go make this movie.
I concur. He was in his bag. Scott Derrickson, he ain't playing with you niggas.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna review Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is directed by Deborah Chow, stars Ewan McGregor, Vivian Lyra Blair, Moses Ingram, and Hayden Christensen, with James Earl Jones as the voice of Darth Vader. Jedi
Nice.
Master Obi-Wan Kenobi has to save young Leia after she is kidnapped, all the while being pursued by Imperial Inquisitors and his former Padawan, now known as Darth Vader. So, yeah, this is a 6-episode series. The first 2 episodes, I was lucky enough to go see at the world premiere at Star Wars Celebration. Shout out to Jan, who is a friend of my mom's, who got me into the premiere. It was super dope being in a convention center full of Star Wars fans and watching the first 2 episodes, being like the first people to watch the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi with the cast and crew in the audience with us. Super dope. And I
Yeah.
remember while watching those 2 episodes thinking that the story was going in a direction that I didn't expect. It was like something I didn't know that I wanted, but I was very glad that I was getting, which was
Okay.
great. Because I think there was sort of like an expectation of what you would get from a TV series that takes place during Obi-Wan Kenobi's exile on Tatooine. And there was always the question of what's going to be a big enough issue to get him to leave Tatooine or to go do something that's more, action oriented.
Right.
The answer is Princess Leia, and it's a very
Mm,
good answer, and it was an answer I didn't think you would get to that question. I love the inclusion of Leia and the Inquisitors. The references to the prequels, especially to Padme, warm my heart as someone who has always loved the prequel movies. Those were my movies as a kid. They were the first Star Wars movies I saw in theaters, except for Episode 1. So, like, yeah, I love that they got referenced a lot.
This is where I chime in with a controversial opinion. Now, To be fair, I have not yet watched Return of the Jedi again. I finished Empire last night. I am going to go out on a limb here and say the prequels are telling a more compelling story than the original movies. Like, the emotion in the prequels is, like, so much of it is driven by, like, emotion, and, like, it has its flaws, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. There's
They're
just a
telling
lot.
very different stories for sure. And I think that the prequels have a lot more political nuance than the originals. I
Mhm.
don't know. There is an argument to be said there. I'm not gonna agree or disagree with you. I will say that it could be a valid point. I can see why you would think that. The OGs will always be the best Star Wars movies ever in the world to me. But the prequels have so much to say, and I think that they do a pretty good job at it sometimes. But yeah, I love the prequels, and I love that they're referenced so much in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Ewan McGregor continues to show why, no matter what you think of the prequels, he was the best part of them as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he's aging wonderfully with the character, and he gets a good arc in this story that adds to the character, learning to release his guilt and how to let go, which brings us closer to the Obi-Wan Kenobi that we get in the original trilogy. Hayden Christensen finally gets his redemption arc as Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. He gets to redeem himself after years of people talking trash about him in the prequels, and he's so good. And I have always loved Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, and I'm so happy that he's back. And I'm hoping that it's true that he is going to be on the Ahsoka series so that he can continue his redemption. He doesn't get as much to do as Anakin as I expected, and he gets far more to do as Vader than expected, which you can only do so much though because James Earl Jones is the one who's going to voice it at the end of the day.
Oh
But
yeah.
he especially shines in episode 5 and in episode 6, which is weird to say in the series, episode 5 and episode 6, not the movies.
Oh right.
Vivian Lyra Blair. This child right here, she is a standout as Princess Leia. And like due to her age, I know that she didn't study Carrie Fisher's performance like most actors would. She like embodies Leia and is Leia in the same way that Carrie Fisher was, and
Hmm.
it's incredible. Like, I watch this little girl and I go, "Yeah, that's Leia. That's definitely Leia." That's like a Carrie Fisher type of way to act out that scene. So much I feel that she is Leia, and she's so good, and it's fantastic. It's incredible. They did such a perfect job casting this small child to be Princess
Nice.
Leia. Carrie Fisher would have loved this girl. Moses Ingram is great as Reva, whose story arc is one that I very much enjoy. I love how she mirrors Vader and how that reveals itself and wraps itself up as the show comes to an end. The rest of the supporting cast also does a great job. Rupert Friend, Sung Kang, Kumail Nanjiani, Indira Varma, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and returning Jimmy Smits. Simone Kessel wasn't in the original prequel movies, but she is on the show as Brea Organa. And I would love to see more of Jimmy Smits and Simone Kessel as the Organas. Don't know
Mm.
what for, but I'd love it. Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace also return. Deborah Chow continues to do wonders for the Star Wars universe. She directed some of my favorite Mando episodes, and I knew she would do an amazing job at this when they said that she was going to direct every episode. And I think she's one of Star Wars' best directors right now. And of course, the show looks amazing. Shout out to Chung Hoon Chung, who also was the DP for Uncharted, Last Night in Soho, Zombieland, Double Tap, Hotel Artemis. He's clearly very dope and
Nice.
got range. I appreciate the show emphasizing that Leia is just as important and just as much of a Skywalker as Luke is. I feel like although her reveal as a Skywalker is very important in the original movies, the effect of that being her bloodline has never really been explored on screen.
That was
Mm.
something I was thinking about because, as I said, I watched Empire last night, and it's like, knowing what's coming. Yoda says like, "Oh, there is another," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's Leia," but she doesn't really get her due in the same, like, it's Luke's story. It's not really her story, and
Yeah.
it feels like she deserves more if we're going to say that she's just as important, and she is, she should get more.
And to be fair, George Lucas didn't know that Leia was going to be the Skywalker until Return of the Jedi anyway. But
Mm.
it's cool that, I mean, now that we're doing this thing where you can go back in franchises and kind of add pieces to it, add layers to it, it's nice that this show decided Leia's just as important as a Skywalker as Luke is, and to really emphasize that and to explore it. And I think the only piece of Star Wars media that's done that has been the novel Star Wars Bloodline, where she has to deal with the fallout of people discovering that she is the daughter of Darth Vader.
She got that one scene in The Last Jedi.
That too. But, it's never really been explored in the way that it is here, where the show is very much like Leia's just as important as Luke. She needed to be protected just as much as Luke did, and she also shows a lot of traits from her parents differently than Luke does. But she is her mother's child. She is her father's child, and I think it's great that they finally showed that. And I think it also made me appreciate moments later on in the timeline a lot more. Like when Leia finds out that Luke is her brother and how calm she is about it. She's not shocked because she's always known that she was adopted. Of course she's not shocked. Yeah, maybe that's cool. I've got somebody out there somewhere. And I love seeing the way that Bale and Brea love Leia and the way that Owen and Beru love Luke as parents. Like, it makes me like really appreciate them as guardians to these kids, because we don't see Bale and Brea in the original movie. And we only see Owen and Beru for a little while. And Owen is he's, kind of like a mean parent at that point because he's not letting Luke go off to meet his full potential. This show really shows why Owen is like that, but also shows how much Owen was willing to protect Luke and put his life on the line for Luke. And I think that's really great. So yeah, the show is awesome. I love the show. This show is great. It's pretty up there in Star Wars content, in my opinion. So if you haven't
Nice.
watched it yet, I would highly recommend it if you're a Star Wars fan. Even if you're a minor Star Wars fan, like you just kind of like the original movies, I would highly recommend watching Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's a lot of fun. It's great.
Dope, 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 dope.
Dallas, do you have a what you've been watching?
I do. First, Colin, do you have one?
You know I
Very good.
He
don't.
made me some new dice a couple weeks ago. Well,
Yeah,
last
that's
week,
the
I
thing.
think.
Colin, you want to talk about
I mean, I can, yeah.
that?
She uses the word commission, and I don't think that's fair because I feel like commissions involve payment, and I'm not asking you to pay me.
But it is
Um,
an easy way of understanding how this is working.
Yeah, what word would you
yes,
use?
I understand. She could just like ask
Slavery?
me for some dice. I don't
Oh,
know, like
okay.
I don't know,
Probably better.
but she
Dallas,
wanted
I
some
would
dice
pay him
made.
if he would let me.
You don't need to pay me. It's really fine. I had all the materials already. Like I didn't need to spend any money to buy new stuff, like whatever. But anyway, yeah, she wanted me to make dice for her little brother, so I made 2 sets of dice because the first set, a couple of dice turned out kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, I haven't made dice in a few months, so that was really fun to do again. I don't know. I guess it wouldn't make sense that I would forget how to do it, but it's nice that I didn't. So yeah, if people are listening to this and they want dice made, you can hit me up on like social medias, and I will make you dice because I like doing it.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have you make dice for the party that he's DMing for.
If they want that, like, hit me up.
They're like a bunch of 13-year-old kids. I'm sure they probably would love that.
All right, cool. I'm down.
Dallas, what you've
Nice,
been watching?
nice, nice. Dice. I am halfway through Miss Marvel.
I love that
I
show
need to start
so
that.
much. I haven't watched the most recent episode yet, though.
Okay, so we're all at different stages. I've seen 3 episodes, Demi seen 2, and Colin has seen 0.
Yep.
So yeah, first things first, the show is created by Bisha K. Ali, who worked on 4 Weddings and a Funeral and
Nice.
Loki. She did
Is Four
something for
Weddings and
sex
a
education.
Funeral the recent one?
Sure.
Yeah, I think she did the most
Because
recent
there's
one
an
with
old one,
Natalie
right?
Emmanuel.
The movie stars Iman Vellani, Matt Lintz, Yasmin Fletcher, Zenobia Shroff, and Mohan Kapoor. And the IMDb summary is Kamala Khan, a 16-year-old fangirl of the Avengers, particularly Carol Danvers / Captain Marvel, struggles to fit in till she gains her powers. That's actually from Wikipedia because IMDb had like a different thing that was hard to copy and paste, and I feel like dealing with it.
Download the app.
Oh, right, there's an app. There's an app for everything. The first half of this series has been a roller coaster for me. After episode 1, I thought, meh, I think I can keep going with this. After episode 2, I thought, this might be the Disney Plus Marvel show that I don't finish because I don't like this. And after episode 3, I thought, I'm in, you got me. Episode 3 is what I was hoping the show would be. And I just had to get through the first 2 episodes to get to enjoying it
That's really
because,
interesting.
yeah, you guys know me. And I'm not really into like the slice of life. Usually it's a
Mm-hmm,
white girl
mm-hmm.
teenager, but this time at least, they
Brown girl.
it's a person of color. So,
Yeah.
there was that at least. But yeah, I don't really enjoy watching just this is a teenage girl in high school. I feel like the show focuses more on that in the first 2 episodes than I care for because I'm here for the Miss Marvel stuff, like the superhero stuff. Let's do it. What are these powers? What's some of my family history? I like all of that. Like the representation culturally, I love it. kind of unrelated, but like the art style of the
Their
opening
visual style is
titles,
yes, they're
I love that.
there's, like, a very Edgar Wright style, like Scott
Mm.
Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, the opening titles feel very Scott Pilgrim. They like draw things in the world when she describes her thoughts and
The
stuff.
text
I love
message
that.
reveals are so much fun.
The end credits with all the like street art, love it. But yeah, the first 2 episodes, I was like, "Ooh, this is not for me," but I'm glad it exists for the people it is for. And then episode 3, we got to stuff that I won't describe, but it's great.
Yeah, because I have got to say that I love the show. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, which are the episodes that you, weren't as into. I
Right.
love them so much. I think this is the most wholesome thing that Marvel has made since Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's so much fun, and it's like you said, there is, like, a slice of life element to it, and I think I've really enjoyed that so far, and I think what really helps is even if you're not into that portion of the show, Iman Vellani, who plays Kamala, she's so delightful and
She's adorable.
charismatic. She is so likable, and it's crazy, this is her first acting job ever.
Oh,
Damn, really?
oh,
Yeah,
cool.
and she's so good, and she's so sweet. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. But yeah, I really like this character. I was watching, a reaction to the first episode. Give me a second, I'm trying to find this dude's name because it's gonna bug me.
Well, she finds that. Colin, why haven't you watched it yet?
Because he's calling.
You know, yeah, that's exactly it, like, for no good reason at all. Like, I keep telling myself, like, I try to watch, like, one thing at a time, right? Right now, that thing is Star Wars movies, but I could have been done with those by now, and yet I'm not, so it's like, I don't know, man.
I think you'll like it because you're into like the teenage coming of age stories,
Yeah.
and generally things that we both like, you like for reasons opposite mine, and then there are things that like I don't like that you like probably because I don't like them.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't figured you out yet.
What?
We haven't figured him out yet, and it's okay. With Colin doesn't need to be figured out. The guy who I was talking about, his name is, I think his name is Coy Jandreau. Jandreau.
Okay.
He's really big into comics, and he was talking about how Kamala is kind of this generation's version of Peter Parker because
Mm,
she's got the average teenager who also happens to be a superhero vibe going for her, and because Peter Parker was created
in the
so
60s.
long ago.
Yeah.
And Peter evolves as time goes on, but Kamala was
Hmm.
made for this generation. She's a fangirl. She is into her fandoms and she's a super geek and stuff like that. And I think that it's very interesting that her show, as I said, is the most wholesome thing Marvel has done since Spider-Man Homecoming, like since
Hmm.
Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think that you can being able to compare those 2 characters and giving them both that wholesome vibe is very, very cool. And like we said, the visual style on the show is just so much fun. And I'm super looking forward to seeing where the rest of the show goes and how it ends, because I kind of am hoping that Brie Larson makes a cameo appearance at the end.
I feel like she has to.
That'd be
I
fun.
hope so.
Either that or they could do the Shazam thing
Yeah, where you
where,
can't see the
you
top
don't
the
show the
head.
Oh, they
face.
just yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be easy enough. Superhero shows like to do
Yeah.
that.
But I am hoping that
Um,
Brie's in it because Iman is in the
that
Marvels.
movie. Yeah. So
Mhm.
they're gonna need to
That
meet
would make sense
at
to
some
tie them
point.
together in that way.
Yeah. So that's the only cameo I want. Either her or Tiana Paris as Monica Rambeau.
That would be dope. I'm here for that. One small thing, I won't get into a lot of the new episodes to me because you haven't seen it. But there was a line I really love. Kamala is talking to Sheik Abdullah, and she's talking about the superhero who's been flying around Jersey City and blah 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 blah. And obviously, with a superhero, there's going to be people who are like, she's doing the wrong thing, she's bad, blah blah blah. And she
Mhm.
says something about like, how can she convince people that she's good? And he says to her, "Good is not a thing you are, Kamala. It's a thing that you do." And I
Mhm.
love that line because I've been thinking a lot lately about the concept that there are people who do really terrible things, and then there are people who do really good things, but then you think they're all cool and they turn around and it's like, oh no, this person might be trash. But like
Mhm.
the nuance of no one is 100% good or bad. You can be
Everyone is
running
doing
around,
what they think is good,
hopefully.
hopefully.
But yeah, it's like, you
I don't know,
can
the
do
grabber
good.
wasn't doing what he thought was good. He knew
I
what he was
mean,
doing.
Was he?
uh,
I didn't see the movie.
we'll
I don't
get
know what
into
his
that later.
motivation is.
Yeah, we can get into that off mic. But yeah, it's like the people that we see these headlines of like, oh, this person did this bad thing. We don't know these people. We know the worst thing that they've done. And I'm not here to cape for anybody who's done terrible things. But like if I grew up with someone and they seem like a really nice guy, they always help me out, blah 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 blah, and I look up one day and they're running through Hawaii committing a crime spree, I might look at that person differently than if I just saw a headline and think, "Oh, they're a supervillain," because I don't know them. I see their headline. But yeah, the good is not a thing you are, it's a thing you do. That line really
Yeah.
stuck with me, and I think it's dope. This is just a what you're watching, not a review, so I'm not gonna get
Yeah,
super
we're gonna review
detailed,
this
but
later on,
in a few
actually, in a
weeks,
few
yes.
weeks when
And
the show
when we
ends.
How many
do
episodes does it have?
6.
6,
Okay,
so like 3 weeks.
I'll get there.
And when we do, we have to circle back to the Peter Parker comparison because I have some thoughts that I want to give on that, but they would stretch this runtime out, and I'm not trying to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I do
Yeah.
wanna say that going forward, first off, I love the fact that, Anjali Bhimani, I believe is her name, is on this show, and I love her from Exandria Unlimited, and she did a voice for Vox Machina, or for The Legend of Vox Machina, which is dope.
Who was she
Lo
playing?
One of the aunties, one of the
Oh, okay.
Illuminatis.
Oh, I love that. That was my favorite line.
I love
The
that.
Illuminantes.
And then also, I'm looking forward to seeing Aramis Knight on the show because I know he's on it and playing Red Dagger. I'm so waiting for his entrance because he's a really good actor, and I loved him on Into the Badlands.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. So, what you been watching slash doing?
Well, I've been watching slash doing anything, as you guys can tell, because I was in Orlando
You were.
for basically a week. I went to Walt Disney World. That was great. So and had a good time. I've been listening to Dove Cameron released a new song called Breakfast.
Interesting.
Man, I love that song. It gets me real fired up. Feel real in control and in power when I listen to that song.
Is it about breakfast, like food?
So the
Is the breakfast pussy? Let's be honest.
it's not, it should be, but it's
Why not?
not. It's funny though, because now that I think about it, like if you were listening to it out of context, you might think that it's about something like that. It's not though. But the chorus is I eat boys like you for breakfast, one by one hung on my necklace, and they'll always be mine. It makes me feel alive. So it's
Okay.
basically about her being like, this dude's a total dick, and I'm the one who's in power, and I will
Mm.
eat you for breakfast. So don't fuck with me.
She's a man eater. Shout out Holland Notes or whoever made that song.
But yeah, it's a really good song. It's very catchy. She's been putting out fire this year, first with Boyfriend and now with Breakfast. And supposedly we're getting an EP at some point. Please, soon. 'Cause so far, both of the songs that she has put out for it are they bang. They are so good.
Nice.
But also she's working on Schmigadoon again. Schmigadoon season 2 is coming. Yes,
Is she in that show?
she is.
Ah,
She's
cool.
great on that show. Her and Ariana DeBose. But yes, I've been listening to Breakfast by Dove Cameron. It just came out. You guys should check it out. It's super dope. I love it.
Dope, 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 dope. Let's move to the
News?
news. We have a trailer. We have one trailer.
One trailer.
One trailer. It's called Not Okay.
It's only on here because Zoe Deutsch and Dylan O'Brien are in that movie.
That is correct because, yeah, I wouldn't have watched this trailer if they weren't in it. So, yeah, it's okay. It's a teaser. It's like a minute. And it's like, warning, this movie features an unlikable female protagonist.
I must say,
Okay.
I do love that it starts with that. I think that's
I figured you would.
hilarious. That's so funny to me. But yeah, the teaser doesn't really show us much except for what this story is going to be about, which is a girl who fakes the fact that she was in Paris during a terrorist attack,
Yeah.
and it's for clout. I think the point
Right.
is that I think the movie starts out that she has just been pretending that she's in Paris, and then a terrorist attack happens in Paris, and now she has to pretend that she was there during that whole thing.
That could be interesting.
So here's what I need to happen. Having looked this up on Wikipedia, if you see this movie and you review it, I need to not be in that episode because Dylan O'Brien's character is named Colin, and that will just get too confusing.
We talk about
Good.
blind spotting with you all the time.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
We'll just
You'll
say
be fine.
Dylan
Alright, fair
O'Brien.
point. Okay.
I'm going to say Colin.
Uh,
The whiter Colin.
okay.
Yeah, that'll help.
Dylan Colin. I really like movies. Okay, I'm not gonna say I really like. But I do like the idea of movies that explore social issues of our time or like just social things that are going on. So in this
Mhm.
case, social media and people who clout chase, basically using social media, and like how far are you willing to go to clout chase, basically to have your name out there? Because movies, I think movies and art in general are a fantastic way of kind of like, I guess you could say, time capsuling, of putting down what the world was like at different portions in time. This
Right.
movie shows what it's kinda like in, or what culture is kinda like in 2022. Like, people be cloud chasing, people be using social media to get their numbers up and, all this stuff, and aren't necessarily truthful. And I
Yeah.
think that this movie could be an interesting exploration of what that culture is like. And in 100 years down the line, maybe somebody will find this movie and be like, "Yo, 2022 was like that?" And it's like, "Yeah, it kinda was." So I think that's interesting.
Oh
I like
man.
movies like that. I like that
Yeah.
movies can do that.
Yeah. This movie gives me vibes of Ingrid Goes West, the
I've
Aubrey
never seen
Plaza
that
movie
movie.
from a few years ago. It was a lot, but the protagonist was very social media clout chasey. Great cast. Weird movie. But I saw this trailer, and highlight of the trailer, and will probably be my favorite part of this movie is Karan Sony, aka Dopinder from Deadpool, just disapprovingly saying,
White women.
that was a highlight for me. I love him. Yeah, watch this trailer, and I thought if this movie didn't have Karan Sony, Dylan O'Brien, and Zoe Deutsch, I would just dismiss it. But I do like those actors all a lot, and I have Hulu, so maybe. Well,
Yeah, I was about to
yes, I
say,
have Hulu
it's on
officially.
Hulu, so it's not gonna be too
Yeah,
difficult to get to.
yes. On the record, I am not using anyone else's Hulu. I'm paying for it. Hulu, leave me alone. Yeah, we'll see. Dylan O'Brien has no lines in the teaser. He's there, so that's cool.
Which makes
He
me
shows
sad
up.
that he has no lines, but I'm just excited to see Zoe Deutsch and Dylan O'Brien act together. Although I need to watch The Outfit because 'cause they've done that before, obviously.
Oh right, very different movie from
But yeah, these are
the looks
2
of it.
actors who I've loved separately for different reasons, and now they're in, like, a movie together, and it's just like, "Yes, let's go." They give off similar energy to me for some reason, and I don't know
Hmm,
why.
interesting. I don't either,
I
but I
can't
haven't seen
explain
as
it,
much Zoe Deutch as you have.
'cau well, her characters are never anything like Dylan O'Brien's characters, so I don't know. The first time I saw Zoe Deutsch act in anything was a CW show called Ringer, and she was playing Sarah Michelle Gellar's stepdaughter, who was a drug addict and an attention-seeking little rich girl. So, but she
All
had a
right.
really good redemption arc, which is really nice.
Is "Rich Girl" a Hall& Oates song too? That's not important.
Next
Moving on
up,
from the trailers, we have some more news. Sorry, I was looking up "Rich Girl." Gina Rodriguez, Zachary Levi, Everly Cargania, and Connor Esterson, yes, Esterson, are starring in the Spy Kids reboot for Netflix. No, I don't know who those kids are.
well, they're newcomers.
They look like newcomers.
They're children, so yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like they're very young kids. I don't imagine they've been acting very long. Yeah, Spy Kids are doing the thing again.
Here's the thing, Imma watch it.
Yeah, I figured you would. You like Robert Rodriguez.
I love Robert Rodriguez, and the reason why I love Robert Rodriguez is because of the original Spy Kids movies. I was
Oh, well
obsessed with
then boom,
those movies as a kid. I
full circle.
loved, yeah, exactly, full circle. So, like, if Robert Rodriguez is bringing back Spy Kids, Imma watch it. I love Zachary Levi from Chuck and from Shazam. I think he's a lot of fun. Gina Rodriguez has done some problematic stuff. However, I used to cape for Gina Rodriguez when Jane the Virgin first came out. I think that she's
She was
really,
dope.
yeah,
She's a good actress.
she's great.
She's pretty. She's likable. Sometimes it's just niggas give her
Stop it.
heebie-jeebies.
Um, but I think she's great, and you know what? She'll probably do a fantastic job with this movie. I think that it's great that Robert Rodriguez is always trying to put Latinx people, he puts them on. He does.
Yeah,
He's always on that. I appreciate
which
that
is
about him.
I was thinking about. For some reason, I look at Spy Kids and I think Latinx movie, despite the mom is Italian and the dad is Spanish. So when I saw Zachary Levi, I was like, "What's he doing here?" But then I remember, like, "Oh wait, no, they had a white. Like it wasn't like they were just Mexicans or anything." I think I see Danny Trejo and I'm like, "Latinx movie."
Well, the characters, I believe, are supposed to be Latinx.
Is Carly Gugino supposed to be?
I don't think she is, but Antonio
Okay.
Banderas definitely is supposed to be because they
Right.
live
Okay, I think
in,
that was
where do they live? They live, ooh, I
I have
wanna
no
say
idea
they
where
live
these
in
people are.
Mexico.
Oh, I don't know.
I wanna say that that's where the
You're my
first,
Spy Kids
but
person.
maybe they don't. Maybe it's, I don't know. Or maybe it's like I wouldn't be surprised if it's Texas though, because Robert Rodriguez is from Texas.
Oh, well, that makes sense too. But Texas was Mexico until we stole it. Not we, I wasn't there for that. I don't even like America.
I wasn't
Alright.
there for that.
Spy Kids, it's coming back. I do think it's dope for a reboot to be done by the guy who made the original because
Mm.
and people are gonna be like, "Oh, you couldn't do it as well as the other guy did." And it's like, shut up, he did it. He did both.
Yeah.
So boom, Spy
Also,
Kids.
Robert Rodriguez is of Mexican descent, so I think they are supposed to be
Yes.
a Mexican family.
All right. Cool.
I love
I
those
love
movies,
Mexicans.
though. I didn't watch the fourth one, but I heard that one was really, really bad, so it's okay.
Is the
I
fourth?
didn't even know there was a fourth one.
Which one is the fourth one?
That one's the one that has Jessica Alba in it. No offense to Jessica Alba. I love Jessica Alba. I just heard that that one wasn't particularly good.
What's it called?
Spy Kids All the Time in the World, and it was in 4D.
Oh man, I forgot that happened. Yeah, I saw the first two, and then that was it for me. But I like them. They're both very good. Yeah, moving on. Also, yes, "Rich Girl" is a Hall & Note song. So in case you needed that, you're welcome. Moving on to one of my favorite whites, Ryan Reynolds is launching a nonprofit for creative talent from underrepresented communities. There's a dog barking outside my window. All right, I think he stopped. Yeah, he did the thing I said he did. Creative Ladder. I saw this on Instagram because I follow Ryan Reynolds on Instagram. I was like, I don't know what that is. I'll circle back to that later. And then I think Demi posted it in the chat, or Gabby,
I did. Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
Colin. I don't know. Somebody. And I was like, hey, that's what he's doing. Shout out to Ryan. I love you. Please be friends with me. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this except it's dope. Like, a platform for underrepresented creative talent is what we need because, Hollywood is beautiful, but it's so white, to quote the snowman from Frozen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate Ryan Reynolds doing his thing. This is like the second program that he's opened up. This is one is specifically for underrepresented communities, obviously, which is dope. I like when actors slash producers slash whatever job you do in Hollywood. I like when they do stuff like that. Because Margot Robbie and Christina Hodson have done it before. I
Hmm.
think they still do it. They have like an action movie writing thing that they do for underrepresented communities. I can't speak all of a sudden. Words are hard. And
Words are hard.
words are hard. So I think it's really cool that Ryan Reynolds is doing this. Ryan Reynolds seems like a real cool dude. I don't know. Maybe we'll sign up, Dallas. Who knows?
Yes, I am underrepresented creative talent.
I also am
So
underrepresented creative talent.
represent me, Ryan.
Or help us represent ourselves.
I like that too. But yeah, I love this man so much. But yeah, that's that. That's that piece of news.
Shout out to Ryan Reynolds for being a cool dude.
Yeah, he's just so good. See, that's the thing is Ryan Reynolds. I don't know him. Everything I see about him makes me love him. So I
Yeah.
hope I never find out anything bad about him.
I was going to say, I've never heard anything bad about Ryan Reynolds, so I'm hoping that we
Right.
never have to find out.
He just seems like a 100% good man. I hope he never goes on a crime spree. Anyway, Léa Seydoux.
Oh, you know what?
Seydoux?
Okay, I've heard one problematic thing about Ryan Reynolds, and that was
Well,
only
don't tell
that
me.
his wedding was at a plantation. But outside of that,
What?
Bruh.
Whew. Moving on. Léa Seydoux, or Seydoux. How do you say her name?
I think it's Sado.
Seydoux joins Dune Part 2 as Lady Margot.
I don't remember. Go back to our James Bond review, and you guys can hear me say it properly. But anyway,
Yep.
yes, I'm super excited. First off, because I'm now obsessed with Dune based off of the part one that we got last year. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. But also, I love Léa Seydoux.
Yes, you do.
She's great. I really liked her. The first time I saw her was in Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which is my favorite of the Mission Impossible movies. And she was good in that movie. She doesn't really do much. She's kind of just like a stereotypical femme fatale, but she does a good job in that movie. But then watching her in the James Bond movies, she was in the most recent two, particularly No Time to Die. Just she's so good in those movies. This is coming from somebody I'm not super into James Bond. I watched all of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies before No Time to Die came out so that I could go see No Time to Die. And she's just so good. She's really great. And she's playing Lady Margot, who
Yes.
is a character in the book, and I think I've read about her character already because I've read like the first 100 pages of the book. She's not in the first movie, and I don't think she's in the 1984 movie either. So I'm curious to see how Denis Villeneuve brings her in or how she plays a role in the second half of the novel. Because, like I said, I haven't finished reading the book yet. So, yeah, I'm excited. I like her. This cast is turning out to be magnificent in all ways, shapes, forms. It's great. I love it. I'm so
Speaking
excited.
of magnificent shapes, I wish Gabby was here because we could talk about Florence Pugh being in the movie.
Because she's playing Princess Irulan. Wasn't Gabby here when
Yeah,
we talked about Florence being cast as the princess?
probably.
I hope so.
Probably. Gabby loves Florence's magnificent shape, for those who didn't understand that reference.
Mm. They should. Well, I mean, unless you're new to the podcast, but we bring it up every single
as
time Florence
often
Pugh is
as we can.
brought up. I hope Florence
But
Pugh
yeah,
is okay with that though. We're
yeah,
complimenting you, girl, just for the record. We appreciate
yeah.
you and all that you do.
You're a great actress. Shout out to Fighting with My Family. I actually like really love you as an actress.
Dude, shout out to like basically everything Florence Pugh has done because
That's true. I
I've
just went
liked
for the
her
first thing I
in
saw her in.
basically everything that I've seen her in. Nope, wait, I have liked her in everything I've seen her in. I just haven't seen her in everything that she's done.
Fair.
I'm not watching Midsummer. I like you, but not that much.
Nope. I don't like you more than I want to avoid Ari Aster in this movie. Austin Butler. Is that Elvis?
Yes, that is Elvis. The
That's right.
reason
That
I
movie
want
came
to
out
go
this
see
weekend,
Elvis.
didn't it?
It did, and the only reason I'm not reviewing it is because I didn't have time to go see it before we recorded this.
Yeah, I was like trying to do my notes for the Black Phone, and I saw like Black Phone, Elvis, like box office numbers, and I was like, oh man, I forgot that that movie happened. Just like Elvis fans forgot that Black people happened.
I mean, they're in this movie, so
They better be.
they got that scene of him like at the church with all the black people, clearly showing that his influences were black church. So
I'm very glad that we've gotten to a point where we can, acknowledge that.
as we should.
Either way,
Shout out to Baz Luhrmann,
better.
who did Romeo and Juliet and gave us the Get Down. You're a wonderful man.
He did do the Get Down.
He did.
I missed that show.
I do too.
Man, that was part
Baz
of my
Luhrmann
beef with
clearly
Netflix.
appreciates black music too. I'm seeing a pattern here.
He better. Anyway, that's our news. Colin, you didn't say anything. Do you have any thoughts about Dune?
I mean, I thought that part 1 was really boring, so I'm not really interested in part 2.
All right, I think this is gonna be my method going forward for news. Colin, I'm gonna run down the news thing, and you just say a sentence about each thing.
Let's do it.
Deal.
All right.
Go.
Not okay. No, you said something about that movie. His name is
Okay.
Colin.
Yeah.
Spy Kids, go.
Can't say that I care.
Ryan Reynolds and the
Underrepresented communities.
minorities, go.
I don't like Ryan Reynolds for no good reason. Like, this is a great thing. I just don't care about Ryan Reynolds.
This is pretty. It was like
That's why I didn't talk about
it
these
was like
things.
you said things, but you didn't say things. It was like I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
That's
Dallas,
what it is.
do we have any
What?
different opinions today?
Man, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to get Colin to podcast.
He doesn't want to.
He just won't do it. Anyway, yes, different opinions. Colin won't give us opinions.
I gave you my opinions. You didn't like them.
You gave us the lack of opinions. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Indifference is not an opinion.
Right. You gave us indifferent opinions. Ooh, that's good. That can be the
Indifferent
section
opinions.
for Colin.
Ooh.
Indifferent opinions.
That's
And then
good.
I'll lead into different opinions.
Trademark that.
See? Perfect. Anyway, yes, different opinions. Our section when we go find the comments from you, the audience. Or usually comment, singular, from you, the audience. This one's from YouTube. Our Fancast Friday for Atlantis, of all things.
Dope.
That was episode 50, like 130 episodes ago. But yeah, shout out to Katie Cage. She left a comment, and she gave us her fan cast for Atlantis.
We appreciate you.
All right, time to quote. My cast, Milo, Tom Holland, Kita, me. Katie, I
Yeah.
love the confidence.
Yes.
Lyle,
100%.
David Harbour.
Ooh.
Helga, Charlize Theron.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny, Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Mole,
Ooh.
Danny DeVito, of course.
Yeah.
And Wilhelmina, Glenn Close.
You know what?
All right.
That's a good one.
Pretty
Right.
solid list.
I would.
I like this
I
list.
don't. Did any of us think of Glenn Close for that character? I don't think we
I
did.
don't know. I
don't
don't think so.
believe so.
And I think that's a good choice. That's a good one.
Yes, Lyle is the bad guy, right? The big.
Yes, he is.
Army
And I
man.
think David Harbour is also a very good choice. I don't know if any of us
He would kill that.
chose him for that. It's been so long, guys. Like we said, that was episode 50.
We did this. We did this in my old apartment. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. it was
Yeah.
a while ago.
Jesus.
Yeah, we were sitting around the table and we all said Terry Crews.
That's right. That's right. I can't wait until
Yeah.
we do that for Robin Hood. When we all say that we have the same Robin Hood.
No, there's no way we will.
Guys,
Like, I'm thinking about who mine is. I'm like, you guys didn't pick that person.
mark it down, guys. I'm predicting that if not all of us, most of us have the same Robin Hood.
It's gonna be like
See,
1, 2,
now
3.
I
We're
feel
just
like
gonna shout
I'm
randomly.
determined to have a different one because you said that.
Don't be contrarian, Colin.
That is who
I don't
Colin
want her to be
is.
right.
Just go with your heart. Follow
Colin
your heart.
is contrarian. His heart is contrarian to everybody else.
That's
That's
true.
not true.
That is his
I
heart.
like that you guys said that at the same time. That's not true. That is true.
Exactly. See, he's being contrarian. Anyway, back to Katie Cage. This is really dope list. Helga, Charlize Theron would be fantastic.
I
as
think
Helga.
one of us chose Charlize Theron for sure.
I could see that. I do love Nicolas Cage as Vinny. Nicolas Cage is so silly.
None of
He
us
would
chose
dive
that
into
one, but it would be hilarious.
I think 2 of us or 3 of us chose John Turturro.
Yeah, a number of
Yeah.
us did.
And then, Danny DeVito as Mole, of course. Why not? It's Danny DeVito.
Tom Holland would make a good Milo.
I've seen him as past as Milo a couple times.
Yeah.
He'd be very, yeah.
I also still
Shout out to
think
Milo.
Dylan O'Brien, speaking of Dylan O'Brien, would also be a good Milo.
I concur. I don't remember who I picked for Milo at this point. Andrew Garfield?
I want
I
to
don't
say
know.
I chose Dylan
No idea.
O'Brien. We should rewatch that episode.
We should. Katie did. Or watched it for the first time. I don't know how she found it way back when.
We're glad you found
But
it, though.
yes, thank you for commenting. To the rest of you, comment more, say things, try to get a rise out of Colin so he'll actually talk. Yeah. Make him be contrarian to you, not just us.
I feel like you have to give a hot take in order for Colin to really, really, like, give an opinion.
I'm going to start shouting takes at Colin off mic and see what.
Hot
Bet.
ones. They have to be hot ones, though.
Please don't shout at me.
Colin, this thing you like is bad. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
He won't care, though, because he doesn't agree with the
No.
ideas of good and bad. See, look at that.
That's
Nor
true.
do you. So that coming from you, I don't think would mean much.
That's true. But, you know what? This is fine. We're going to do all this off
We'll
mic.
figure this out later.
We can leave. Anyway, audience, thank you for listening to all of that. We love you. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing, putting us on YouTube, watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, and bringing something to review because,
I
we're
will always
podcasting
bring Star Wars
on
to
a
the table.
podcast, unlike somebody. Colin, thank you for vibing with us. Thank you for...
I'm feeling very attacked right now.
Are you?
Thank you for letting me
Yes.
attack you, I guess.
What?
I don't know. Just you roll with the punches, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to keep throwing them. Audience, what do you think of Kenobi? What do you think of the Black Phone? Did you go see it with your friend who invited you, or are you whack? Let us know in the comments or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk about horror movies with me, because these people won't see them with me, find me on Twitter and or Instagram at a king named Simba.
Sorry.
Not sorry. If you are willing to provide legal counsel to someone whose business partner just threatened them with continued violence, you can find me on Twitter at
Okay.
DuckMcGuck.
Got it. I mean, not violence.
You
Metaphorical
literally
punches.
said, I'm going to keep throwing the punches.
They're
You said,
verbal
that's
punches,
literally
Colin.
recorded. You
At
didn't
the-
say that.
Is it? We're on Zencaster. The context, it's clearly verbal. Anyway, Demi, can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
And you can find Gabby on Twitter at Yeet Those Younglings. All one word.
Yeet those younglings.
Yeet Those Younglings.
That's concerning, seeing as
Nope.
know.
Oh.
It's been different. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So we were talking earlier about people aren't 100% good or bad. Sometimes you see something and you're surprised.
Yeah.
I need an answer from each of you.
Okay.
Who would you be the most surprised to hear went on a Hawaiian crime spree?
I think
Ryan Reynolds.
Well, see,
Very topical.
Jason Momoa, just because like he cares deeply about like Hawaii, and it's just like what happened.
What made you turn your back on them? Good answers.